Welcome to Business Reporter's Future of Human Capital campaign. I'm Rachel Hicks. Both employers and HR departments are constantly searching for the ideal employee, not just skilled and experienced, but also engaged, passionate about their job, and with a mindset of growth and flexibility. However, what they often end up with are staff members who feel uninspired, disengaged, and happy to call it a day as soon as they've done the minimum of what's expected of them. But are most of these employment stories bound to end as damp squibs? Do motivated employees appear fully formed and ready-made on the labour market? Or do you need to spend time developing their skills and approach in an enabling working environment which helps them reach their full potential? And what part does diversity and inclusiveness have to play? Well, that's what we're going to discuss today with Adria Harris, Human Resources Director UK at pharmaceutical company Roche. Adria, hello. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Now, when we think about diversity and inclusion, we often are aware of it being lacking in the workplace. So what exactly does the term mean, and is it an interchangeable one?
Diversity is the mix, and inclusion is about making the mix work. And they are really integrally linked together because I don't think you can have one without the other, especially if you're trying to drive innovation and creativity in your organization. And the concept of inclusion to me also is about being able to step into the shoes of somebody else and see it from their perspective so that we can really make that diverse mix work for us.
Are there any quantifiable diversity and inclusion standards that companies are mandated to meet?
Here in the UK, recently the government has implemented the requirement for companies who have more than 250 employees to report on gender pay gap. And this is all about transparency. This also gives us awareness about, what pay gap does or does not exist and how we can improve. Similarly, for us, we have chosen to be accredited as a disability confident employer. So this is an area that is important to us that we want to focus in. So you have government mandated, you have choice of employers. Another thing we've chosen as a company globally to measure is the number of women in senior level positions globally. So these measures really do show that you can make improvement.
So research shows that if you're interviewed by somebody with the same background as you, you're twice as more likely to get the job. Mm-hmm. But why is this still an issue, and how does the lack of diversity and inclusion kill innovation?
There's a human element to all of this, right? We are attracted to those who may look like us, sound like us, have similar backgrounds to us. So really, when it comes to recruiting, we need to make sure that we have awareness of our conscious and unconscious biases. So we've implemented trainings to help hiring managers and to bring awareness of this. This is really about a mindset, and because if we are just thinking very similarly, and we won't have that innovation. We won't be challenging one another. We won't be having those hard debates of what makes sense for the future, what kind of new ideas do we need to bring, and how do we really further our business.
So in that case, who should take responsibility for diversity and inclusion? Should it be the HR department?
We in HR, obviously, we are a people-oriented organization, so we have some responsibilities to D&I. However, D&I overall is the responsibility of everyone who's part of our company. It's how they come to work every day, how they bring themselves to the office. So it's very much a cultural element for us. Again, it's that diversity, that mix, and making it work. So you could have a diverse group of people working together, but if you don't know how to make it work together, you just lose so much potential. So inclusion is so important in all of this so that we appreciate one another for the ideas, the expertise and experience that we each bring to the table. The how comes through in different ways. First and foremost, from a company standard perspective, having core values that enable respect and trust in the organization. For us, it's about courage, integrity, and passion. That's kind of the foundation. And then it's how we show up and lean into it. The affinity groups, for example, really empowering these employee groups to focus in areas that are important to them so that they can really feel their purpose matches with the purpose of the organization they're a part of. that's also an element of how to make it work. So for instance, we've done some work with veterans, we've done some work with cognitive abilities, mental health, and this really enabling the organic evolution of these groups really helps to drive that purpose and that feeling in the culture of our organization that furthers inclusivity.
So can you give us some examples of how a diverse workforce has helped Roche in times of transformation and adapting to new circumstances?
You know, we're probably not unique from others in our industry and outside of our industry in that we are facing this technology revolution. Sometimes we call it the VUCA environment, where there's volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity in the external environment that we have to become much more adaptive and agile to working in. And so by focusing on diversity and inclusion and really how can we work more collaboratively together? How can we listen to everybody, bring everybody's voices to the table, whether you're an introvert or an extrovert? These are really important factors that are helping us during this period of time. We are implementing agile methodologies into our ways of working, coming together for a shared purpose. And so it's almost we're seeing the affinity networks that we've leveraged with D&I coming into business topics. And this is really supporting an evolution that we are on to really adapt to these, kind of the uncertainty of the future, and so that we can really be responsive.
So what would you say in that case is the measure of success?
As I was mentioning before, with these mandated measures, they really give us the opportunity to see how we're improving. So measuring gender pay gap from 2017 to 2018, we saw an improvement of 3%. And so this is something that will continue to let us know how we're doing and what actions we need to take to further improve, because there's continuous improvement absolutely in this area for us. But secondly, there's more of a qualitative aspect of measurement of success, which is the employee experience. And how does it really feel to be part of our company? Do you feel you can speak up to your peers, speak up to your managers? These are really important elements that we capture through employee opinion surveys, but that is really at the essence of letting us know how we are succeeding and where we need to improve. And we can also look at how innovative are we being? Are we seeing positive change? These are all additional indicators that we can look at.
And what do you see are the major trends in the development of D&I in, say, the next 5 years?
I kind of have to look from our past as I think about our future. For instance, today, mental health is a huge topic, huge social topic for us, but it wasn't something that we're talking about 10 years ago. So I think some of the trends that we'll see in the next 5 years are going to be those topics that people are talking about, so that they can really relate to their personal experience to the experience they have in the workplace. So mental health absolutely is a trend I see continuing to go forward in the future, as is LGBTQ+ and gender. These are really key topics. Again, a lot of social relevance happening today. For myself as a mother of girls and with nieces and goddaughters, women having a place in leadership in the workplace and being able to have their voices heard is so important, and we have to keep going at that. And the veterans, I think, so many people have been serving our countries, no matter what country you've been from. At some point, they're done with their service. How do we integrate them into our organizations? They have transferable skills. How do they bring those mindsets? They're in VUCA every day. How can they help us in our corporations going forward?
If there were a couple of points that you wished people to take away from watching us today, what would they be?
It really comes to what I started with. Diversity is the mix, and inclusion is really making the mix work. And it's all of our responsibilities. It's not just one person's responsibility. And I think this is something, too, that we can take outside of our corporate lives. This is something that we can take day-to-day social activity. I mean, just think about, put yourself in the shoes of the person sitting across from you and experience what they're experiencing. Be curious. I think this is really kind of foundational and a basis for how we continue to evolve and innovate and create together in the future.
Adria, thank you very much for joining us and talking to us today.
Thank you.